Episode: Halo on HoloLens at E3. Halo on HoloLens at Electronics Entertainment Exposition, E3. Halo was going big with Halo 5's upcoming release. Microsoft and Xbox were looking for ways to get Halo noticed, bigger than ever before. Well, we managed to convince the head of Halo, Bonnie Ross, to let us create an Electronics Entertainment Exposition E3 demo using Halo. She agreed. We went big. Well, we saw an opportunity with Halo as a stratospheric brand that would make HoloLens and our team shine. We went to town, as they say, building a United Nations Space Command UNSC battlecruiser right on the E3 floor. We had 2 fully operational wings for conference goers to board the battlecruiser. As people entered the battleship doors, they were greeted by lab coats scientists, whom promptly asked the attendee to sit and be fitted with a HoloLens on their head. Attendees were treated as if they were Spartan warriors preparing for combat. The real world was a multi-million-dollar built spacecraft on the E3 floor. The augmented world had Cortana, a woman, talking to and guiding the attendee through the actual physical space. Cortana escorted each attendee to a command room through a hallway where a real-world table was, but augmented reality objects and data and animations and instructions were all displayed atop and above and around the physical real-world table. Fictional and real things were blended into one human perception, with both eyes and ears tricked by HoloLens. The attendee was joined by other attendees, and 6 of them together were all briefed in augmented reality about Halo 5 and the mission they would play soon, all in perfect synchronicity, so they could talk about and see everything as though it was real to all of them at the same time. They could see and talk about what they saw. It was a 100% common shared experience. What they saw, heard, and when they did was common for everyone. And when the command table demo overlaid visuals faded away, Cortana returned and escorted the attendees to a room filled with Xboxes ready to play the soon-to-be-released Halo 5. Halo on HoloLens at E3 received the most recognition and awards of any Microsoft product ever. Halo on HoloLens was a major hit. So many famous people, celebrities, and politicians alike came to see the experience of Halo on HoloLens. I remember one highlight specifically. Steven Spielberg came in and he looked at the physical set that we had built for the show floor, and he declared it was better and more believable than most of his own movie sets. He declared it was incredibly impressive. Few people realized what a true challenge it was to have HoloLens operate on the E3 floor at all, never mind the Halo experience that we made. With thousands, tens of thousands of people in close proximity, all carrying possibly active cell phones, the radio frequencies they broadcast were busy, if not outright jamming, of everyone else and everything on the floor. It was the very nature of just having too much radio noise. It caused storms of transmissions, and therefore transmission and reception failures, and therefore retries on top of those failures, increasing the amount of radio traffic. In other words, big show conference floors like E3 have a lot of radio noise that can make cell phones and most radio signals spotty, if not outright fail. They certainly were unpredictable. The technical perspective is this then. A device like a cell phone transmits and receives data. The data may be lost amidst thousands of other devices transmitting at the same time. The devices then time out and they retry to transmit or receive data. This time, it might go through, but other people's data may not have gone through, and so they retry sending. The endless cycle of devices failing to to transmit, retrying to transmit, and so forth, results in an even more radio noise storm that every single phone is creating transmission interference of. And show exhibitors have a lot of wireless devices running too, which also add to the radio noise. HoloLens uses standard wireless Wi-Fi. We used Wi-Fi networking to interconnect HoloLens users to synchronize their experiences and track for any anomalies in those experiences so that we might address them live in the moment. We likewise made a tablet app that was skinned to look like a Halo device of the future. The tablet was used to configure and even debug on-the-go HoloLens devices that may have had issues. The tablet app also used Wi-Fi to network with the HoloLens devices. HoloLens used Wi-Fi for networking to connect dozens of tablets with hundreds of HoloLens devices. Yeah, by the way, we had most of the entire world's built HoloLens devices at E3 for Halo. Simulating low to medium radio congestion for E3's show floor indicated that we would often lose connections and that the experience would become so unpredictable it might be bad. No one wants to spend $5 million for an unpredictable, potentially bad experience. Because there was such dependence on wireless connectivity, we had a problem. HoloLens was vulnerable to showroom floor radio interference. HoloLens was vulnerable to Wi-Fi storms. Well, we had a crazy idea. A Faraday cage. A Faraday cage is no more than a cage. A big giant mesh of metal or wires, usually copper. The copper mesh causes radio signals to bounce around it and get absorbed or reflected or diffused. The result of a Faraday cage is radio isolation inside and outside of the cage. In other words, anything inside the Faraday cage can talk to each other. Anything outside the Faraday cage can talk to each other, but nothing inside the cage can talk to anything outside the Faraday cage, and nothing outside can talk to anything inside the Faraday cage. Well, we found a company in Germany that manufactured Faraday wallpaper. That's right, they made wallpaper that had Faraday copper mesh wires woven throughout the fabric. We literally installed wallpaper between the E3 showroom floor exhibit walls, floors, and ceilings. Halo on HoloLens at E3 operated in the largest Faraday cage ever. At one point, we were asked if we would consider moving to an underground, top-secret HoloLens lab area. It felt a bit like being exiled, though, into a dungeon. But it was autonomy, and it was much more cool than corporate Microsoft's traditional facilities. We appointed space captains and their supporting space cadets to drive the new seating plan and our move. Oddly, Microsoft did not offer movers for this move, like they usually did. It was on us. Well, we did as directed. We moved ourselves. Unfortunately, that move resulted in my suffering 3 hernias. Well, I had to have surgery and have what they call a tri-mesh repair for hernias. I should have pushed against Microsoft making an older man move himself and the team. But I've always done what it took to succeed, and they asked me to do so. They asked me to hurt myself to succeed. And so I hurt myself following their directions. On a tangent, I had gone into a major corporate meeting right after my surgery because it was supposedly important. I struggled and it hurt so badly that I went to the rear of the conference and I cried. I could not contain the pain, it was so much. And no one from Microsoft even bothered to ask how I was. No one cared. I could go on about my experience in HoloLens at Microsoft. How they used my time away for my surgery and recovery because they made me move myself and our team despite my age and health and was injured. Or how they showed no compassion or care for my suffering and tears from it. And worst of all, how they used my away time to declare that I should receive 0 bonus and 0 raise for the entire year, despite my accomplishments. Even human resources called it wrong, unjust, and a travesty. Microsoft pushed me out using my injury, which they caused, as an excuse for my alleged lower productivity. I sought attorney consultation, but they said no law firm will ever go up against Microsoft for an individual employee. Microsoft has legions of lawyers and enough money to never lose. They will drag things out until litigants give up. I had some insights while working at HoloLens. HoloLens technology had high potential, but in my opinion, it was squandered. HoloLens had no business direction or strategy that I could see, other than make really cool things and the rest will follow. They hoped to inspire more investment and others to make software on HoloLens. They often use the phrase, fake it until you make it. Yeah, fake it until you make it. Well, I refuse to fake anything, period. What a pathetic excuse for not owning the responsibility of doing something that is real and genuinely useful and valuable. Why not make it and not fake it? Faking it is deception. It is a form of lying. HoloLens was the most unprofessional organization that I have ever worked in, under a vice president called Kudo Tsunada. HoloLens prototype tech was not easy to make work, but we made it look polished and great. HoloLens was led by a conceited idiot of a man, Kudo. I gave HoloLens major awareness boosts by making Minecraft and Halo on HoloLens. I innovated new enterprise and military experiences on the HoloLens. But in the end, HoloLens was a blip in time that paved the way, no doubt, for some other company to succeed in augmented reality, because I predict that Microsoft will eventually abandon HoloLens, like they have done with so many other of their hardware endeavors. Anyway, that was my tale of HoloLens.